Well, hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to watch Michigan Out of Doors TV online this week. We just want to let you know that we have a brand new website, michiganoutofdoorstv.com. We kind of revamped the whole thing. You can look at old shows, old recipes, check out our merchandise area where we have some new t-shirts, hoodies, hats, some more stuff coming as well. So make sure you stay tuned and kind of keep checking that site out for all the new Michigan Out of Doors gear that we're going to be offering. And hopefully you will enjoy this week's show. Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by...
For over 30 years, Vanguard Outdoors has made the gear that turns a regular hunt into another fine day of field. We know that a good shooting stick or a nice pair of binoculars can make or break your day. Our design teams include serious hunters who work hard to bring you the best sporting optics, shooting sticks, tripods, bags, and more. We are Vanguard Outdoors.
Hello everyone, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Sialik and we've got a great show headed your way this week. We'll take you all the way up to the UP and all the way down to Detroit. We'll start off by getting an update on the wolf population in the Upper Peninsula, and we'll stop in with the DNR to check out a new project they're working on, surveying wildlife populations using trail cameras. You won't want to miss those stories. And Jimmy's going to take us to Detroit for some fishing action.
Well, that's right. We are going to head to the Detroit River on this week's show. Now, typically we head down there in the spring for walleye, but there are walleyes that you can be catching right now, but there's a few other species down there in the Detroit River that make it a lot of fun to fish this time of the year. Lots of stuff on this week's show, all brand new. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gratzinger, and it's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors.
What a beautiful day in the woods.
Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by
Country Smokehouse, a sportsman's destination since 1988, featuring varieties of homemade sausage, jerky, brats, and gourmet entrees. Holiday gift boxes can be assembled in-store or online. Details at countrysmokehouse.com.
by Great Lakes Firearms and Ammunition, a family-owned and operated firearm manufacturer in Sparta, Michigan, offering a wide variety of calibers and colors, backed by a lifetime warranty. More information available at glfallc.com. By Morgan Composting, a family business located in Michigan. Morgan Composting offers a variety of products, all powered by Dairy Dew organic compost for homeowners and farmers. To learn more about all the product options available for your food plots, visit dairydew.com.
All right, well, we're here with Brian Roll here in Marquette, Michigan, just outside the DNR office here. Brian, just tell me, what do you do here for the state of Michigan and how long you've been working for the department?
So I am the large carnivore specialist for the state of Michigan, and I'm actually in my 27th year for working for the department.
27th year, you getting things figured out?
Oh yeah, we got her all even keel right now.
Well, let's just start with kind of where are we with the wolf population here in Michigan? What are you? Let's just start with that. Kind of.
Okay. Well, wolves have been fairly steady for the last decade. We really haven't seen a fluctuation in their our minimum population estimate. So that minimum is down midwinter when wolves are at their lowest point. Our last data point was that for 2024, and we had 768 animals, plus or minus, 50, 60 animals, something like that. And they've kind of bounced like that, like I said, really actually for the last 14 years, somewhere between that 600, 700 number.
Okay. And what do you think is a healthy population that here in Michigan? Is that a should there be less wolves? Is it okay if there's more
Well,
wolves?
that's all in the eye of the beholder.
Okay.
We probably are at saturation point for, say, a biological carrying capacity, although there is some social aspects to that. But, you know, yeah, there's folks that want fewer, there's folks that want more. So I guess, you know, I really can't answer for those folks. I can tell you biologically they are secure in Michigan.
Okay.
We're not looking at, you know, a threat of them going endangered or anything, or them not being in the landscape of Michigan.
And how big of an impact do you think they have on the deer population? Is it substantial up here, or do we overblow that?
It's way overblown. They really don't have an impact on the deer. That's kind of a myth. We can look at over a decade's worth of research that we did on the predator-prey relationship of deer in the Upper Peninsula, and Tyler was involved in that, and you know, that was stuff that we did in 3 different snowfall zones, looking at all 4 predators. And really, what the driver of deer in Michigan is winter weather, and that is. And everybody always tells me, oh, the Upper Peninsula's always had hard winters, and that is true, we always have. But what we've actually seen is a change in the frequency of severe winter for deer. So anytime you get over 90 days of 12 inches or more of snow on the landscape, that's what we call a severe winter for deer. And so those frequencies has changed over time, and a lot of that probably could be due, and I say probably because we don't have, you know, the research yet to show that, but likely due to climate change. So Lake Superior is warmer. It's not freezing like it used to.
Okay.
And it's one gigantic snowmaking machine. So we're getting more snowfall in those higher snowfall zones across that band across the Lake Superior. And we're getting lake effect snows that actually are moving further south.
Wow. Now, would the department like to see the ability to control wolf numbers? Is that I don't know if that's, I mean, you guys can't.
The department doesn't have a decision in
Yeah.
that, and that's kind of a misnomer. Is that the DNR, you know, that's the reason we don't hunt them or harvest them, is because the DNR won't let us, and that we don't have a say in that. That's a decision for the NRC. And really the first step that would have to happen is they have to come off the federal endangered species list. And then the NRC could give us that charge, legislators could give us that charge to develop what a harvest season may look like. But until those steps occur, the DNR cannot really start.
And I think that's a great point that I think a lot of people don't understand. Maybe give me a little bit more background on the federal delist. What would actually have to happen, or how does that process even start if the department went to the feds and said, hey, we'd like to be able to control these numbers? Can they just, somebody's one decision can
the
change
department wouldn't do that.
Okay.
Obviously, we have come out and said that we feel wolves don't warrant being listed as an endangered species in the state of Michigan. And you can really kind of say that for the Western Great Lakes. We feel they are recovered. There is a 5-year post-delisting monitoring plan that would be put in place if they do become federally delisted that we would follow. But like I said, harvest is really not a necessary tool. It's just whether, you know, and so everybody says, well, should you have a harvest season on wolves? And I can't answer that question. What I can answer you is, can we have a harvest season? And biologically, yes, we could have a sustainable harvest of wolves. But when you get to wolves, they're an iconic megafauna in the state of Michigan, and there's a lot of opinions on that.
Yeah.
And so when you say that word should, that's really not for me to answer.
Okay.
I got to stick to the science and facts.
Well, special thanks to Brian for sitting down with us, and I was really surprised to hear him say that they think the wolf population has almost zero impact on the deer population. Well, we kind of know that that's really not the case. Even if only one deer is taken, it's having some sort of an impact. The question is, how big is the impact of the wolf population on the deer population? That's one thing they're also trying to figure out in this trail cam study that they're doing right now in the Upper Peninsula. Tyler, tell us a little bit about this trail cam survey that you guys are doing. How big is that, and how many trail cams you got out there? How does that all work?
Absolutely. So this research project is known as the Wolf Abundance Project. So we have right now just over 1,200 trail cameras all across the Upper Peninsula.
Wow.
To try to survey and get a better estimate of wolf abundance in the Upper Peninsula.
Okay. And how often do you check those? Are they the cellular cams? Do you got to go manually to each tree? How does that work?
Yeah, so these are not cell cams, so these are actually all store on board. So we visit these cameras once a year.
Once a year?
Yeah, so the battery life on these trail cameras is really fantastic. We're able to deploy these cameras usually in the summertime, leave them out for a full year, collect the SD cards, and then we go through the busy work of uploading all that data and going through those photos.
Are they a trail cam similar to what sportsmen buy at J Sporting Goods? Are these like specific ones that you guys use that are different?
No, so these are, yeah, anything you can actually pick up off the shelf. We standardize all of them, so we actually use Browning Dark Ops for all of our trail cams, just so that we have a standard detection rate across all of our cameras.
Okay. And that's just in the Upper Peninsula, or is there some in the lower too, or how does that work?
So this project is just for the Upper Peninsula. So this project is actually done in partnership with Michigan State University.
Okay.
They are running all the trail cameras in collaboration with us to get this work done. And so we have staff that are going out and checking these cameras from July through October, basically to get to all the camera sites, replace the ones that were maybe stolen or damaged, and then going through all the photos to identify species.
And what are you kind of looking for? What are you hoping to find, or you're not hoping to find, but what are some of the things that you're seeing that kind of surprised you a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So really the impetus for this project was to get a better handle on what does wolf abundance look like in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Because right now we use a minimum track count, and that track survey has been a great tool for us monitoring wolf recovery across the Upper Peninsula. But what's happened really over the last decade is that as wolves have become saturated across the Upper Peninsula in their pack territories, we start to see pack overlap. And so it becomes much more challenging to differentiate, pack A from pack B using track surveys alone. And also that minimum count gives us a minimum known number of wolves. We can say there's at least this many wolves in the Upper Peninsula. But the challenge is that there's definitely uncertainty around what that upper limit on wolves might be. And so what we're hoping with this trail camera survey is that we have those 1,200 cameras separated across the Upper Peninsula. So we have about 8 cameras per wolf home range. So that's about 130 square miles. And really what we want to make sure is that if there's wolves in a pack territory, we're going to detect them. And so far, early results, we're coming into the second full year of camera deployments, and we're going through the first year of camera deployments. And we're using an AI software to help sort through and do an initial sort on camera images.
I mean, how many trail cam pics are for a full year? That's got to be tons.
Absolutely. So for the first full year of deployments, we're actually looking at over 8 million images.
Oh my word.
But luckily what we're able to do is sort through those images that are empty, remove all the images that have vehicles or people, to protect everyone's privacy. So those images are actually removed from our data set before we upload them to try to do species ID.
Now, are these all on state property or some on private as well, or?
Yeah, so we have a big group of collaborators to get this work done. Across state, federal, tribal, some private commercial forest lands as well, where we have agreements that we have cameras out to try to get the best possible coverage. Like I said, we really want to make sure that if there's a pack territory, we want to have cameras out there to detect wolves if they're present.
Wow. Anything show up that's like really surprising, where there's like high density of a lot of wolves, or are you getting moose on there too, I'm assuming? And
absolutely. So that's really one of the benefits of this camera survey, is that the primary goal is to have a better estimate of wolf abundance in the Upper Peninsula. But as you know, anyone who uses trail cameras knows, anything that walks by that camera that's large enough to set off that infrared sensor is going to be captured. And so then we can use that data to help inform some of our other management in tracking of those populations. So some notable detections so far, we've had 9 detections of cougar on that survey in the first year, 2 detections of lynx, over 6,000 photos of moose, giving us really the first look at what moose distribution looks like across the Upper Peninsula, which is really unique to see. As well as, over 1 million photos of white-tailed deer, 80,000 photos of coyotes, over 50,000 photos of wolves. Wow. So the data is really unique, and it comes pouring in. And so right now we're just doing that heavy lift of sorting through those photos, because the AI is only so good. You can imagine that as hard as it is to distinguish between a wolf and coyote in a photo, it's definitely hard for a computer to do that as well.
So once you, what is the goal? What are you hoping to learn so that we're fairly limited in what we can do to control the wolf population, but what are you hoping this data at the end of it will what will that teach us here at the end? What's the goal here?
So really the goal of the project, like I was talking about earlier, is to get a better handle on what's an accurate estimate of wolf abundance in the Upper Peninsula, and then what's the uncertainty associated with that abundance estimate.
Okay.
Because right now we have that minimum population count from our track survey that we do every other year.
Okay.
And that gives us a good understanding of when the population's at their annual low in late winter, how many wolves are on the landscape. We can confidently say that.
Okay.
The challenge is we know that when you go out and survey an area, you may miss an individual. Or if you count 3 individuals traveling together, what's the likelihood that there's actually a 4th traveling in that pack territory as well?
Gotcha.
And so that imperfect detection is something that we can account for in this new method using trail camera surveys. How often do you have wolves run by and miss an animal? How often do you see go into an area in a wolf pack territory and maybe there's 4 animals instead of 3 animals? This is going to give us hopefully a better understanding on what that potential uncertainty is around the estimate. And uncertainty is not a bad thing in this case because it gives us the bounds to help us make the best management decisions moving forward.
Gotcha. And so just to kind of wrap things up, kind of what is the estimated wolf population, if you can, kind of low end to high end, kind of where are we at, you figure, right now in the state of Michigan?
Well, so that's really what this project's goal is to actually come up with that estimate so that we're going to have a summer estimate as well as a winter estimate, hopefully, across seasons, because we do know that there's a lot of mortality that happens in the fall in our wolf population.
Okay.
And so what you may be seeing for wolf numbers in the summer versus the fall could be very different from what you're seeing in the wintertime. And so we don't have those population estimates yet from the camera survey.
Okay.
Those are being done right now. Like I said, we have to go through all those photos to make sure that we have an accurate estimate of how many of those are misclassified as coyote or misclassified as wolf.
Okay.
And once we have those, then we'll be able to generate our first estimate to compare to our minimum track survey.
Okay, so we're still in progress trying to figure that out.
Yes, yep, absolutely.
Special thanks to both Brian and Tyler for sitting down with us. The wolf population in Michigan is a hot topic for sure, and if anything changes on the delisting of the wolf, we'll make sure that you are aware of what's going on with that population. Well, when you talk about fishing the Detroit River, you typically are thinking walleye, and that is really the case, especially in the spring. But there are fish right now in the river that can be caught, walleye for sure, but also some other species that make it a lot of fun.
We fish in the river. Our area, we're trying to target about 32 to 38 feet of water, hoping for some walleye. Kind of call this a multi-species hands-on fishing trip. So no trolling today. Nothing wrong with trolling, but it gets kind of boring when you're sitting there waiting for a rod to go off. So hands-on, we're feeling the bite, we're fighting the fish with our hands, feeling that bite, and we'll get all kinds of fish today. So that's our plan.
All right, and there's still some walleye down here.
There's walleyes down here for sure. Past couple days we've been getting a few. Tough part is they're real finicky, they bite really light, so they're heartbreakers. You get them right to the surface and they get off. So, but same plan as spring really. Jigs, we use stingers, some guys don't. We'll put a little bit of bait on there sometimes. Sometimes we'll throw jigging wraps or spoons, but basically the same thing as the spring. And what's great is if you're a little nervous about fishing in the spring, you've never done it before, now's the time to come out and practice. Nobody on the water. You can work on your boat control. You're not dealing with 500 boats next to you, you know, hooking other people and all this other stuff. So, you know, it's a great time to kind of practice and get your game down, and then when spring comes, you have a little more confidence. I've got an Iron Man color plastic on there. I put a little flash on there so you'll see there's a little spinner on my stinger hook just for that little bit of kind of reaction, a little bit of excitement, a little bit of flash. I will tip this with a little piece of crawler, but we've been doing well just as it is. So you can do either one. You could use a minnow as well. And again, same thing, keep it vertical on the straight up and down, hit the bottom every drop, just a quick snap, and we'll be on them here soon.
And what size rod and reel or rod? And
So these are 5'6" rods. This is a heavy rod with medium action. Just got a small fluger on here, 8-pound braid. Some guys will tie a leader on there. I just go straight braid, 8-pound braid. Yeah, I do lose muskies and stuff like that, but I'm not worried about it too much. This is pretty strong stuff.
It's kind of a short rod then?
Yeah, it's a short rod. This is a custom rod made for the Detroit River by a guy out of Illinois, Jim Grant. So yeah, it's great because it's short. You know, you can keep it close to the boat. It's not, you know, getting in the way. It's perfect.
Well, we had Evan Barrett and Kevin Johnson fishing with us today as well, and we had a monster coming towards the boat. Question was, could Evan get him to the boat?
Okay.
Seems like drums stay down, muskies kind of swim out.
We want to head over that way, but he's a little low on line.
Yeah. Oh, you need me to, okay, I'm gonna follow you, Evan.
How's your drag?
Light
real low
and
on
run
line.
out of line.
Yep, running out of line here. You want to tighten that drag a little?
It's gone.
Can we get it? We get the line?
He took the whole everything.
Strip the reel. Never seen it before on television.
No, that's the first for me.
Wow. Brutal.
I wish I could say that was the first time I've seen that happen. You get a sturgeon or something.
You gotta get a better captain over
Unbelievable. That was my fault. I should've...
I have fished with Captain Eric a handful of times over the years, and he really does know his stuff. We were hoping to run into some walleye today, but we felt quite confident on boating a few sheephead and then chasing some white bass as well. It was really just a fun time on the water, catching fish.
This guy only catches big fish for some reason.
I guess so. Oh, that's why you bring me.
He's not in yet, so let's not rush. Oh, baby, there's a little color.
Deep color?
It might be, it's going to be close to a master here. He's barely hooked.
Oh, nice extension.
Another big old drum.
Wow.
We did lose a few walleye bites early in the morning, so once we had our fill of drum, we were on to the next challenge.
So the plan here now is we're going to head upriver to a known silver bass spot, and we're going to cast some swim baits, some surface Zara spooks, and there's also some smallmouth in there too, so we're going to give it a go for both those species.
Now, white bass can be really fun to target. We did have a stiffening wind today, which made boat control a bit dicey, but we found some fish.
Good fish. We just slipped these right in the boat. There we go.
That's our silver bass.
It's our silver bass. We use these paddle tails and they work great. Kind of get like a fast jerking aggressive motion on these, and they usually pound it pretty good. So
Looks like a good size.
Oh, yeah. Put this crankbait on. The way I fish it, throw it out, put 3 or 4 hard cranks, slow retrieve, pause, give it a snap or two, and then pow, fish on.
Nice.
Boom. Damn, looking. Boom, got him on top water.
Top water, that was cool.
That was cool.
I really haven't seen anyone topwater fishing for white bass before, so that was kind of a fun twist. As was the fact that these guys love to eat these white bass, and in fact, they prefer them over walleye. They swear it's true.
we don't freeze them for too long, but clean them up and cook them within a week, and they're decent.
You guys did a little taste test on them recently?
Yeah, so Evan and I did a taste test. We compared silver bass, smallmouth, and walleye. And was it conclusive? Was it overall we thought the silvers were the best? Yep, silvers were the best.
Wow,
We
blind
just
taste
used-
test, eh?
Yeah, we just did breadcrumbs and Old Bay. Pan fried and it's delicious.
I have to say, I'm sorry I missed the taste test day, but we may have to make another trip just to test this theory out, because there are a ton of white bass down here on the Detroit River.
Very much underutilized.
Yeah, this is actually a little slow, so this is kind of our backup spot, but it produces one of three really. So this is kind of a backup spot, but yeah, you got to find what they like. So I think Kevin's getting them on, or we're all getting them on crankbaits now. So it's either a crankbait, Zara Pooch, or a swim tail. You got to be aggressive with them, give them that yank as you're retrieving, but when they're in here, it's pretty fast and furious. So a lot of fun. Good place to take kids.
This kind of fishing all the way through into fall then too, or?
Yeah, they kind of slow down around October, but from May to September, it's pretty reliable.
So there you have it. Come down here and practice your boat control. Come down here and catch a bunch of fish that rival the famed walleye in the deep fryer. But whatever you do, just enjoy all the variety of fishing opportunities we have right here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Thank you for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Make sure you come back in upcoming weeks. We've got a lot of great things headed your way this summer. We'll take you out on Lake Michigan trolling for some of those big fish, and we'll take you over to Lake Huron jigging for lake trout. You won't want to miss those stories coming up soon. And as always, you can check us out online to keep updated on where we are and what we're up to.
Well, that's right. Online is a good way to see what we're up to. Probably Instagram and Facebook are the best ways to see what we're up to on a day-to-day basis. If you missed part of this week's show or maybe last week's show, you can always check us out on our website at michiganoutofdoorstv.com. Full episodes of the show there, old recipes, as well as some of our new merchandise that's out there. So lots of stuff that you can be checking out on our website. And make sure you are joining us over the next several weeks. Lots of good stuff coming. If we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by
Get away from it all to your own place. With Greenstone's recreational land loans, we'll help you finance acreage of any size so you can own your own place in the great outdoors. Greenstone.
By Greenmark Equipment. Greenmark Equipment is a John Deere dealership network in southwest Michigan and northern Indiana. Greenmark provides sales and services to farmers, commercial businesses, large property owners, and homeowners. Information about pricing and products available can be found online at greenmarkequipment.com.
Closed captioning brought to you by Double D Ranch Foundation, a nonprofit 501c3 foundation working to make hunting and fishing accessible for those with disabilities.
When I